There's something deeply unsettling about a killer who wants to be caught. Not because they leave evidence behind, but because they announce their crimes before anyone even knows a murder has happened. And for detectives in Riverside County, that nightmare became reality on a quiet autumn night. Because every time the phone rang, someone was already dead. It began on October 14th, 2:07 a.m. Inside the Riverside Police Dispatch Center, the night shift moved slowly, almost lazily. The fluorescent lights hummed above rows of computers. Officers typed reports. Coffee cups sat half-empty beside keyboards. For most people in the city, it was the middle of the night. But for dispatcher Amanda Collins, it was just another shift. She had answered thousands of emergency calls during her 8 years working dispatch. Domestic disputes, car accidents, drunk drivers, sometimes even false alarms. But nothing could have prepared her for the call she was about to receive. The phone rang. Amanda reached over and answered instinctively. 911. What's your emergency? There was silence. Not the usual kind of silence from nervous callers. The silence felt deliberate. Then she heard it. Breathing. Slow. Controlled. Almost calm. Finally, a man spoke. You should send someone to Miller Road. Amanda frowned slightly. Sir, what's happening on Miller Road? The man answered in the same calm tone. There's a body in the woods. Amanda immediately straightened in her chair. A body? She asked. Yes, the man said quietly. A young woman. Amanda's fingers hovered over her keyboard. How do you know that, sir? The man paused. Then he said something chilling. She's been dead for about 2 hours. Amanda felt a sudden knot tighten in her stomach. Sir, are you with the victim right now? But instead of answering, the man continued describing details. She's wearing a red jacket. Amanda began typing rapidly. And her left shoe is missing. Amanda froze. How do you know that? She asked again. But the man didn't respond. Instead, the line went dead. At first, responding officers believed the call was a prank. False reports weren't uncommon. Still, protocol required them to investigate. 2 patrol cars drove out toward Miller Road, their headlights slicing through the darkness of the rural countryside. Miller Road was isolated. A narrow dirt road surrounded by thick forest. Perfectly quiet. Too quiet. The officers searched the roadside with flashlights for nearly 20 minutes. Nothing. Just trees, dirt, and darkness. One officer was about to radio dispatch to report a false call when he noticed something unusual. Broken branches. A narrow trail leading into the woods. The officers followed it. 20 yards into the forest, they found her. A young woman lying motionless on the cold ground. Dead. She was wearing a red jacket, and her left shoe was missing. The caller had been telling the truth. But the discovery raised a terrifying question. How had he known? Detectives initially believed the caller had stumbled upon the body and panicked. Maybe he didn't want to get involved. Maybe he was afraid. But Amanda Collins knew something wasn't right. She remembered the man's voice clearly. He hadn't sounded scared. He hadn't sounded shocked. He sounded calm, almost like he was reporting something routine. 3 days passed. The case made local news. Investigators asked the public for tips. But no one came forward. Then, at exactly 2:19 a.m., the phone rang again. Amanda answered. 911. What's your emergency? The voice responded immediately. You found her. Amanda's blood ran cold. It was the same man. Detectives rushed into the dispatch room and began recording the call. Before Amanda could speak, the man continued. I have another location for you. Amanda tried to steady her voice. What location? Highway 17. He paused. Look under the bridge. Amanda quickly signaled investigators. Sir, can you tell me your name? No response. Where are you calling from? The man ignored her questions. Instead, he said something chilling. You should hurry. Then the call ended. Police rushed to Highway 17. Under the bridge, they found another body. The second victim had been dead for nearly 4 hours, which meant something terrifying. The killer had called police before anyone even reported the victim missing. The department quickly realized they were dealing with something unusual. Someone was committing murders and calling the police to reveal them. But the killer wasn't bragging. He wasn't threatening anyone. He wasn't asking for attention. He simply gave locations, almost like he wanted the bodies discovered. But only when he decided it was time. Detectives began referring to the mysterious caller as the caller, and over the next 2 weeks, the phone rang 3 more times. Each call came late at night. Each call came from a different payphone somewhere in the city. And every time, the voice was exactly the same. Calm, emotionless, controlled. The victims were always hidden, but never impossible to find. Almost as if the killer was playing a game with investigators. But during the 3rd call, something changed. Amanda answered the phone once again. The man spoke almost immediately. "You're getting better." Amanda looked toward the detectives monitoring the call. "What do you mean?" she asked. "You found the last one faster." Amanda felt a chill move down her spine. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. The man chuckled softly. "You're asking the wrong question." Amanda hesitated. "What's the right question?" The caller paused. Then he whispered something strange. "You should ask why I want you to find them." Before Amanda could respond, the call ended. 2 weeks passed. No calls. No new bodies. Detectives began to believe the killer had disappeared. Maybe he left the city. Maybe he had been arrested for something else. Or maybe he was simply waiting. Then one night, the phone rang again. Amanda stared at it for a moment before answering. 911. "What's your emergency?" The voice returned. "You're getting close." Amanda's heart started racing. Close to what? "You almost figured it out." Detectives immediately began tracing the call. For the first time, they got a signal. A payphone 5 miles from the station. Officers rushed out. But before the caller hung up, he said something new. "You'll find the next one tomorrow." Amanda's voice trembled. "What do you mean tomorrow?" The man's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because it's you." The line went silent. Police arrived at the payphone within minutes. But the caller was already gone. The next morning, a patrol officer spotted a car parked along a quiet country road. Inside the vehicle was a body, but it wasn't Amanda. Instead, detectives discovered something strange in the victim's pocket. A folded piece of paper. Inside it was a handwritten message. Just 4 words. "Stop answering the phone." The killings stopped after that. No more calls. No more bodies. No more clues. Despite years of investigation, the identity of the mysterious caller was never discovered. To this day, detectives still debate the killer's motive. Some believe he wanted control. Others believe he wanted recognition. But one theory is far more disturbing. Some investigators believe the killer wasn't calling to taunt police. He was calling to make sure someone was listening. Because for a killer like that, the crime wasn't complete until someone heard about it. And somewhere out there, the man who made those calls may still be alive, waiting for the phone to ring again.